Good morning. You listen to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Lou Morano, the owner of Capital Carpet and Tile in Palm Beach, Florida. Lou, how you doing?
Good.
I saw you a few weeks ago. We were together in Nashville at the Mohawk Edge meeting. I'd like to catch up with how your business is doing. A little background first. You've got 5 stores, also got a commercial division, and you're in Palm Beach County, Florida, which is about the middle of the state on the Atlantic Ocean side, right?
Right, correct.
And you've been in business for over 35 years, right?
Yeah, since 1986.
And how is business right now?
Well, for the year, total is very, very good. As I think with most retailers, the first quarter, the second quarter were just excellent. But then as the fourth quarter has come, it has definitely slowed down, not meeting last year's figures, but yet still being good because, the last couple of years have just been incredible. So it's tough to compare it.
Right. Do you think that, are you budgeting for a little bit of a dip in the first couple of quarters of 23?
Yeah, you hear everything all over when we're going to have a downturn, when we're going to have a downturn, if we're going to have a downturn. So we already see kind of that the first quarter most likely will not be anywhere near as good as the first quarter in 2022 because the first quarter in 2022 was just exceptional. So you can't expect that every year. So we're just going by the pace. We figured our advertising budget to not be quite as much as if we did as much business last year, but still being aggressive.
The last time you and I talked on a podcast, we were talking about wearing masks and we were talking about PPP. So, we've had a couple of years of pretty good demand for flooring. So, I don't think we're going to go back down to those 2020 levels. The business continue to be better than it was then, right? Don't you think?
It should. One of the things is that we cater to a more of an upper end customer, so they probably have more disposable income. So maybe whatever's going to be coming is going to affect us a little less. On the same hand, those people for the last 2 years have been taking the disposable income that they normally would spend on vacations or whatnot and spending it on flooring and window treatments, which we do. So, I do feel that, even those people with the disposable income now will be taking some of that money they would normally do their houses and, traveling and whatnot. And plus, real estate is starting to calm down. So who knows? We just try to do the best that we can.
One way of describing this is we're kind of going from a harvest mode where we've got so much demand, we're running around just trying to handle business to maybe a little bit of a hunter mode. Are you going to do anything with your sales folks that's going to prepare them to go out and maybe shake the bushes a little bit?
Yeah, there's no doubt. We've had some meetings and talks. For the last 2 years, people have really been just coming through the door. Of course, you still have to sell them, but there's been a lot of traffic and a lot of people willing to spend money. We have to go back now to making sure, they should always be making sure they're following up on every lead. And they should always be making sure that they're being as aggressive as possible in the sales system. We are running with less people than we normally do. No different than anyone else trying to find good sales staff. So now they have to really hunker down because they're going to have more time on their hands, and therefore they should be more aggressive in their communication as far as not aggressive with the communication, but aggressive as how many times you're going to touch the customer, being on top of them, working those internet leads stronger than ever because they're going to have more time to do it. So that's kind of the plan.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's talk about merchandising for a second. It seems to be the hot topic, and actually in our January issue of Floor Focus, which just came out, we have an article on that. So there's when you look at CCA Global, you look at even the Edge folks, they were talking about reducing clutter and changing out the displays. What are you doing in the area of merchandising to make sure the consumer's not overwhelmed with clutter?
Well, we definitely don't have our stores cluttered. There's a place for everything and everything in its place. So we don't have 1 square foot that's wasted anywhere. So when it comes to new displays, let's just say that we're replacing an older display. First of all, does it make sense? Is it the same footprint, and is it better? And if it is, then we go ahead and switch one out. If it's bigger, then we have to decide, that vendor, what else are you going to take out for us to fit? We don't have any square foot waste whatsoever at all. So as we're constantly changing the showroom. It's not just every year; it's whenever anything new comes out. Let's say it's a brand new product line that we don't normally carry. Is there a product line in that category that we're not doing well with? If we're doing really well with it, then we don't have room for it. If we think that we're going to do better, then we take one out and put that in. So our footprint is constantly changing. We'll move things around within the showroom to make space, but we don't have any more space than the space that we have.
Yeah. Take, for instance, I mentioned we were together at the Edge meeting, and they were rolling out some new displays. Did you pick a few of those up, and are you going to need to integrate those?
Well, we looked at them, and some of them look excellent. So what we do now is that now that we're back from that particular trip, the reps will come in. Our vice president and manager will go to the stores and look and see what they can fit. Does it make sense? And then we make the changes accordingly.
And we've done multiple podcasts, and I know we've always talked about your mom being involved. So since this last time we've done a podcast, she's passed away, and that's sad to hear.
Yeah.
How have you backfilled for her? Because she actually added a component of quality control and making sure the consumer was happy at the end. How'd you fix that?
Well, first of all, she was 89 years old, and 88 of those years were great. So I would take that contract now if I could. She lived a long life. We had a celebration of life. Of course, as she was not in the TV commercials anymore, people said, what happened with Mom? Of course, we explained it. Yeah. She used to call every single solitary customer that bought every day. So now we just have someone else doing it in place of her, doing the same type job, but it's obviously not my mother anymore.
Okay, you still got that component. That's good to hear.
Yeah, I mean, it's really important, because, they say the whole thing with personal tell one person the good news and 10 people the bad news. So we want to know it before they start telling anybody else. So that gives us a chance if something did not go right or they were unpleased, that someone in the organization or myself will call them and if there's something not right, make it right. Or if they just had a bad experience, talk them through it so you can call me personally and just give that personal touch to make them feel they're heard.
So are you going to go to Surfaces in Vegas this year?
We're contemplating it. We are really quite busy doing a lot of things trying to get ready for the coming year. We're still internally with my vice president, general manager, myself, very busy. So we may, but we haven't made a decision yet.
Yeah. Okay, Lou. Well, thanks for spending time with our listeners and give us an update on what's going on with your 5-store chain. Again, been talking to Lou Morano, the owner of Capital Carpet and Tile, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.